Hey, what's going on, guys? Double 18 Set Shadow here. So, we're still seeing a lot of downturns in the market, especially for some items that were really up there in value for no reason at all. As I pointed out at one point, this heiress card from the Havencraft trial deck, when I first looked at this card weeks ago, it was $20 for some reason. And thankfully, it doesn't look like anyone bought into that. And now we have a large number of copies of this for just 25 cents. And yes, it's a good thing nobody bought into that. And you still have listings of this showing for closer to $18. But again, don't. It's not even worth. These leader cards are necessary to play, but all you have to do is pick up a starter deck, and that basically gives you a leader card every time. Of course, if you're buying into the booster pack alone, then your only chance for a leader card is really good luck, as there are only supposed to be 2 of them per case. And then just kind of looking at the foil version that you can get out of the booster pack, this one is holding around $50 to $60 and has listings to respect that price range, which it makes for one of the cheaper leader cards that you can get foil right now, but certainly not the cheapest on the market. But speaking of where some leader card trends are going, the 2 most expensive ones are actually seeing a drop in value too, like Zernita Zealous Wings, which is currently the most expensive on the market, has been selling closer to 180 now, where it was in the 200s for its market price before. So that's not a heavy drop off, but hey, that's $20 plus. Same goes for Aurelia Blooming Blade, which is a Swordcraft leader card. This one has a market price also around 200. It still sells for closer to 200, but it hasn't sold for a few days and has listings that have dropped to 165, so they're starting to drop a little bit. Novice Trooper also dropped off from that last massive spike that we talked about, and there are listings back in the 50-cent range, and there are a number of them that are in 30-cent range as well. And now I'm kind of curious. Let me see how the foil is looking. We've got $4.90 for the base one on that, and yeah, ultimately the foil version of Novice Trooper is still a $5 card and has 21 listings available, so if another spike like that happens, you can probably be assured it'll go down given that the foil exists. But then again, something that I mentioned on my other market watches for Cardfight Vanguard is that the player base doesn't always look at the premium rarities for certain cards, and as a result, the base rarities get higher than the premiums. So always keep in mind when a card has a premium variant, because if the base one is starting to creep up to the premiums, you have to make the decision as to whether or not you think the premium is actually going to be bought out, because if it isn't, you can expect the base one to go back down, just like this happened. But for something that went up these days, Ancient Elf is on the rise. 9 listings left on this one, and it's been bought for $10. I feel like Forestcraft is looking to be a little more popular than I expected. I don't know about actual meta play, but in terms of just play in general, when you think of the original Shadowverse, Forestcraft is the craft of the main character too, Arissa. So I'm just a little surprised that this one just keeps bouncing around between $7 to $10 all the time. But I mean, I'm not too surprised at it even being at the $10 rate. Right now, Forestcraft is still a more complicated deck to play and not as good for meta play, but it's still capable. I mean, I've played it in tournaments, won once. I didn't win the second time, but I did pretty well, I think. The evolved version of Erd is out of stock. Listings sold for $4 to $6 more recently, and now there are no copies left on the market, so you will have to look around to find this now. but this makes me fearful of what the next listings on TCG Player are going to be. Fervid Soldier, also Swordcraft, is still holding in the 30-cent range for its sales and is still selling pretty consistently. But we only have one listing left at 35 cents before it becomes a 50-cent card and above until you get to these listings, which don't have the free shipping over 5. That is something you have to keep in mind with TCG Player, is that they'll always prioritize the free shipping over 5 listings as opposed to any others that might be cheaper. Then, of course, ghost tokens. I talked about these I think this was the first token that I talked about, being that it was at $1 for a while. Now it's dropped off much farther and is available for as low as 25 cents, so that's good to see too. Angelic Barrage is also down. This one had been in the 70-cent range for its set 1 variant, but of course, this has multiple variants available through the starter decks. Let's see though, the low-end ones do have a lot of copies. 11 cents, 34 and 23 copies available, so it's become a much easier pickup now. And then we've got some promos to talk about to wrap up. We have Elven Princess Mage, which is the tournament promo from just participating in shop tournaments. And this one has listings as low as 13 now. This was one of the cheaper ones you could have picked up before, but no one's bought into any that were above $10 yet. So we'll have to see where that goes. But the same goes for Alchemist Workshop, which now has only 2 listings starting at $15, but it hasn't sold for higher than 8. But it has sold for 8, which is interesting to see. It is these promos are foil versions of cards that you get from either the trial decks or set 1, so it's basically a premium variant. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys later.